Global TV News Express. Federal government shortlists candidates for recruitment into immigration, civil defense, others. In business, President Tinubu approves 15% import duty on petrol and diesel. On the foreign scene, curfew declared in Tanzania after election protests. And in sports, Super Eagles open Morocco camp ahead of World Cup playoffs. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and on StarTimes, channel 276. And now the news in details. The federal government has released 2.3 billion naira to university-based unions to clear outstanding arrears and improve staff welfare across tertiary institutions. Education Minister Tunji Alausa said the funds were processed through the Accountant General's Office as part of efforts to resolve long-standing disputes with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and other unions. Alausa added that earned academic allowance will be integrated into staff salaries from 2026 to ensure sustainable and timely payments under realistic financial agreements. In the meantime, the federal government has announced a short list of candidates for recruitment into the Immigration Service, Civil Defense, Correctional Service, and Federal Fire Service. According to the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire, and Immigration Service Board, applicants are to visit the recruitment website from October 30 to confirm their status and access details of their computer-based test. The Board Secretary General, Major General Abdul Malik Jibrin, cautioned candidates against fraudsters and urged them to rely solely on official updates from the website. The Nigerian Senate has confirmed service chiefs appointed by President Bola Tinubu. The confirmation followed the screening of the Chief of Defense Staff and the service chiefs in Abuja. Our correspondent, Topsy Kimba, has the details.
The nominees were Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Wadi Shaibu, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Idi Abbas, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Sunday Kelvin Aneke, Chief of Air Staff. Speaking before the nominees were screened, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said only a few questions will be asked and they will go into a closed-door session to interact with the service chiefs on national security matters not meant for the public knowledge.
On issues of communities that are ravaged by banditry, terrorism, or Boko Haram. And that, security is something we should discuss behind closed doors so that we will not be misquoted.
The first to take the podium was the Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, where he presented his records in the service. He said, as a former Chief of Army Staff, he is aware of the challenges facing the Army and its operations. He called on Nigerians to join hands together to fight insurgency.
It's important for the nation to empower the police, make it stronger, make it more formidable, so that they can do their job.
He was followed by the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Wadi Shehu, where he presented his records while serving in various military operations, particularly in the northeast region of Nigeria. He said in the course of his operations, over 442 terrorists were neutralized and various weapons were recovered. He assured Nigerians that more will be achieved in the fight against terrorism and banditry in the country.
I have been privileged to have various honors and awards ranging from the Meritorious Service Star, the Grand Service Star, that culminated with the Field Command Medal, Field Command Medal of Honor, and the Nigerian Army Outstanding Operation Medals.
Also standing at the podium was the Rear Admiral Idi Abbas, Chief of Naval Staff. He said he has served in various capacities and pledged to do more in his new role to free Nigeria waterways from criminal elements.
To my mind, may remind relatives and family members of those that they have named to think in another direction.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Sunday Kelvin Aneke, presented his records of service as an air officer.
From liberties and aspirations through the instrument of air power in conjunction and synergy with both my colleagues in the military and the other security organizations.
Many senators asked questions. Among them were Muhammad Mungunu Bononov, Issa Jibril Kogi and Abdul Ningi Bochi Central.
With the latest
being 6 super Tucanos at the cost of $1.2 billion US. For appointing General W. Shuaibu as the Chief of Army Staff. He has taken this job as a do-or-die affair.
After the screening exercise, the Senate went into a closed-door session with the service chiefs. Topsy Gimba reporting for Global Television News.
And there was wild drama at the National Assembly as officials of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, staged a walkout during an investigative hearing of the House Committee on Basic Education and Examination Bodies. The inquiry, chaired by Obudu Ofoji, was convened to scrutinize JAMB's 2023 and 2024 budget performance, its remittance to the federal government, as well as bank statements detailing revenue inflows and expenditure. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
Although the registrar, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, was invited to appear in person, he delegated a director, Muftak Bello, to represent him. However, the atmosphere quickly turned tense after Bello requested that journalists be excused from the session, claiming the documents to be presented contained sensitive information. The lawmakers insisted that the proceedings must remain public, citing the constitutional mandate of parliamentary transparency. The refusal triggered the JAMB team to rise and walk out of the meeting, a move that lawmakers describe as disrespectful and an affront to parliamentary oversight.
It's not the right for JAMB representative to say they want a meeting closed door and that they want to see the chairman in camera. These are the things that they put the National Assembly members into trouble. Why must you see the chairman behind doors? We like being open because this is public money.
Chairman Ofoji condemned the action as unfortunate and unacceptable, warning that such conduct would not hinder the legislature from performing its constitutional duty of ensuring accountability in the management of public funds. Other lawmakers, including Awaje Inombek Abiante, Billy Osaworu, Maria Ebikake, and Rodney Amobiwo, also criticized the decision to stage a walkout, insisting that public institutions must remain accountable to the Nigerian people through the legislature.
The National Assembly has requested that JAMB should furnish us with certain details of the income and expenditure, including whatever sources of revenue that they have gotten.
It's unheard of where an agency will come in. For us to oversight an agency, then the authority, the agency will tell us that, sorry, we would like to see you in private.
The committee consequently issued a summons directing the JAMB registrar to appear before it with his full management team by next Tuesday or face sanctions in accordance with Section 88 and 89 of the 1999 Constitution. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Nigerians gear up for the Anambra State governorship election on November 8. A major technological breakthrough is set to redefine how election results are reported. SoftSmart Enterprise Solution has unveiled an AI-driven electoral results platform that promises real-time transparency and instant updates across broadcast and digital channels. Our correspondent, Sadia Yakubu, has the details.
For the first time in Nigerians' electoral history, election night coverage will be powered by artificial intelligence delivering verified results in real time. Managing Director of SoftSmart Enterprise Solutions, Charles Goriola Yakubu, says the system will automatically read and upload official results sheets to a secure database within seconds, instant displaying outcomes on the live television dashboards and online scoreboards as they appear on INEC's IREF portal.
What we're here to do today is first to introduce you to a breakthrough technology that our company developed. For the first time on Saturday, by the grace of God, we will tell you, we will project who will win that election by 8-9 as a result of this our technology. You don't need to have your agent in the polling unit. All you need is subscribe to our system, in your party headquarters, right, and monitor the elections.
Yakubu explains that each result form is processed in under 30 seconds with over 95% accuracy, compressing what used to take days into mere moments. He says the innovation is designed to restore public confidence by making result collation transparent, visible, and verifiable, reducing post-election disputes and tensions. The AI platform also integrates interactive storytelling tools, allowing anchors and analysts to showcase candidate profiles, party histories, and public highlights, turning raw data into compelling insight for viewers. Beyond live results, the system includes an electoral night analytics, mirroring international broadcast standards, and giving Nigerians not just numbers, but context, empowering informed commentary and trust in electoral reporting. Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
To Benue State, where the Kuka Center, in partnership with the state government, is set to train 200 personnel of the Benue State's Civil Protection Guards. The move aims to strengthen community security and promote accountable service delivery. Our Benue State correspondent, Felicity Ndere, reports.
The Kuka Center is teaming up with the Benue State government to train 200 personnel from the Benue State Civil Protection Guards. The goal is to boost community security and promote accountability.
Whose administration prioritizes peace building, inclusive governance, and people-centered development.
The project manager of the Kuka Center says the initiative is part of efforts to improving community security for accountability service delivery, which focuses on capacity building, institutional reform, and standard procedures for the Civil Protection Guards.
The thinking of the Kuka Center through the Strengthening Peace and Resilience in Nigeria program is to first associate herself with the successes that have been recorded and then contribute to strengthening the operations of these security outfits by way of strengthening the legal frameworks that establish them, as well as providing specialized training.
The stakeholders are on board with the traditional institutions, praising the involvement in security planning.
The input made by all of you sent to the government, and the governor implements some of these things. It may work, but as I've said, the issue of security in Benue State is very complicated. We don't know why it so persists, but in spite of what the government's intention have been and so on, but it continues.
For me, I am very happy, and I'm happy that today I'm part of this team that is going to improve on the law and make it workable in future.
However, legal analysts are calling for reforms, especially regarding funding, welfare, and accountability mechanisms.
The essence of analyzing the law, doing this assessment, is to see the gaps in the law that needs to be strengthened so that the Civil Protection Guard are properly positioned for them to be more effective and efficient in carrying out their responsibilities as outlined in the law.
The project is supported by Strengthening Peace and Resilience in Nigeria, SPRING program, an initiative of the UK's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, implemented by Tetra Tech International Development and executed by the Kuka Center. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global Television News.
Out of activities marking the 2025 Fire Week, 100 police officers are undergoing fire safety training across Kano State. The program held at the police headquarters in Kano highlights the need for joint efforts in tackling fire emergencies. Global Television correspondent Idris Jibrin was at the opening session and now reports.
Drawn from the 44 local government divisional headquarters and police outposts across Kano State, these officers are being trained on fire safety to better protect their formations and respond effectively in case of emergencies. Considering the impact of climate change, the Kano State government has put necessary measures in place to safeguard both lives and property and remain committed to supporting the fire service in carrying out its duties effectively.
Considering the climate change and the situation that we've been witnessing due to climate change, The government has put in place a lot of measures trying to see what it could do to mitigate the impact of the climate change in the state.
Addressing the participant, the Kano State Commissioner of Police Ibrahim Bakuri emphasized the importance of collaboration between the police and the fire service to ensure quick response to fire outbreaks.
This collaboration is not only a personal role, but also a reflection of the strong partnership and collaboration between the Nigerian Police Force and Federal Fire Service in Kano State. And I assure you that the Kano State Police Command will continue to prioritize fire safety measures in all its activities and facilities.
In the coming days, the Federal Fire Service, in collaboration with the Nigeria Police, will embark on a sensitization campaign across Kano State to educate residents on fire prevention and safety measures. From Kano, Idris Juprin, Global Television News.
In the live broadcast of News Express, when News Express returns, curfew declared in Tanzania after election protest. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Back from that break, and now to business news, where President Bola Tinubu has approved the introduction of a 15% ad valorem import duty on petrol and diesel imports into Nigeria. The initiative is aimed at protecting local refineries and stabilizing the downstream market, but it is likely to raise fuel pump price. In a letter dated October 21, 2025, reportedly published on October 30, 2025, and addressed to the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, President Tinubu directed immediate implementation of the tariff as part of what the government describes as a market-responsive import tariff framework. The House of Representatives has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to secure over $2.3 billion from the international capital markets to partly finance the 2025 budget deficit and refinance Nigeria's maturing Eurobond. The lawmakers also gave the nod for the federal government's debut sovereign sukuk issuance of up to $500 million as part of new external borrowing plans amounting to 1.84 trillion naira to support the 9.27 trillion budget shortfall. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
The President's request is titled Request for the Resolution of the National Assembly to Implement New External Borrowing in the 2025 Appropriation Act, refinance maturing Eurobonds, and issue debt sovereign sukuk in the international capital market. Tinubu said the purpose of the letter was to seek resolution of the Senate pursuant to the provisions of Section 21, Subsection 1 and 27, Subsection 1 of the Debt Management Office Established Act 2023 to implement the new external borrowing of 1.84 trillion naira, equivalent to USD $1.22 at the budget exchange rate of USD 1.00/1.5 US dollars in the 2025 Appropriation Act for the part financing of the budget deficit. He said the facility will be assessed through any of the following channels in the International Capital Market, ICM, issuance of the Eurobonds, loan syndications, budget finance facility from the book runners, and direct borrowing from the international financial institution. He also requested a resolution to issue a stand-alone debt sovereign sukuk of up to $5 million in the ICM without credit enhancements guaranteed. He therefore invited the Senate to approve the loan. The loan was referred to the Senate Committee on Loans, Local Foreign Debts. Topsy Gemba, reporting for Global TV News.
On to news making rounds on the foreign scene. Tanzania's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam, has been placed under curfew after violent post-election protests left dozens injured and many feared dead following the exclusion of key opposition candidates from the polls. Security forces fired gunshot and tear gas to disperse protesters who torched vehicles and public offices as internet access across the country remains cut off in what monitors describe as a nationwide digital blackout. Civil servants and students have been ordered to stay home, while the government remains silent amidst report of rising censorship, arrest of opposition figures, and growing international concern over the unrest. On the ongoing visa policy controversy between the United States and Mali has seen a recent development that could signal a de-escalation in their diplomatic standoff. Our correspondent, Edikon Michael, examines the situation.
The disputes began in early October when the United States announced a new visa bond pilot program requiring citizens of various countries to post bonds of up to $10,000 when applying for tourist or business visas. Mali was promptly included on this list, with the new policy slated for implementation on October 23, 2025. In response, Mali enacted a retaliatory measure adopting an identical visa bond policy for United States citizens. However, on October 23rd, the United States government published a revised list of countries whose citizens are required to post visa bonds, and notably, Mali was no longer included. This change indicates a relaxation of the United States visa policy stance towards Mali amid ongoing diplomatic negotiations. Reacting to the development, Hein Dunkham, senior lecturer at Teesside University, urged the United States to review and possibly modify the policy to prevent it from disproportionately affecting certain nationalities.
I think actually this is very concerning, because obviously after the tariffs that have been imposed by Donald Trump, we are entering a new phase now where these restrictions could enter the U.S. and other countries into what we describe as immigration or visas as well, war, which can as well lead to restrictions on American citizens entering these countries. So I think this is really concerning.
Washington has used visa policies as a means of political pressure on several African nations in the past couple of months. But this recent decision is seen as a positive step towards improving the bilateral relations, potentially easing travel restrictions and promoting increased cooperation. But nations have yet to make official statement on the matter, but analysts suggest that this move could pave the way for further diplomatic and economic engagement. Edikan Michael reporting for Global TV News.
Where the Super Eagles of Nigeria will open camp on November 10 in Rabat, Morocco, ahead of their 2026 FIFA World Cup playoff clash against Gabon. The Nigerian Football Federation confirmed the matches will hold between November 13 and 16, with the winners of Nigeria-Gabon and Cameroon-DR Congo advancing to the final. CAF says a draw will determine which Rabat Stadium will host the semi-finals, as the NFF president, Ibrahim Gusau, assures of the team's readiness for the competition. I'm still talking sport as the countdown to the 27th Nigeria University Games, NUGA 2025, intensifies. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, has pledged his support for the game to be hosted by the University of Jos. He made the pledge when the local organizing committee of the NUGA 2025 paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja. Ramzi Enoch Agbo reports.
The visit is part of an effort to promote the game of sport among Nigerians of all categories, which will build up a hub for sports development at all levels. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, pledged his commitment and support for the National University Games, that is NUGA 2025, which is scheduled to hold from the 6th to the 16th of November in Jos, Plateau State.
Sports remains a critical component of our development. Sports today, as everybody knows, in all parts of the world, have become an engine of growth because jobs, employment, careers of people, it goes a long way in unifying any place, especially in Nigeria.
The chairman of the organizing committee, Goshen Bella, during the visit gave a breakdown of the activities and infrastructural setup for the smooth running of the games.
As being a lover of sports, and you have passion for youth in the country, we're here also to honor you as an ambassador of the games. In a nutshell, the game has a lot of benefits for the youths of Nigeria. And most importantly, there are other legacy projects that would outlive the games. Notably among them is that infrastructure, which is being built and is ongoing. It's going to host any international tournament.
Ramsey Enoch reporting for Global TV News.
This comes to an end. Here is a recap of our top stories. The federal government has announced a short list of candidates for recruitment into the Immigration Service, Civil Defense, Correctional Service, and the Federal Fire Service. In business, President Bola Tinubu has approved the introduction of a 15% ad valorem import duty on petrol and diesel imports into Nigeria. On the foreign scene, Tanzania's commercial capital city, Dar es Salaam, has been placed under curfew after violent post-election protest left dozens injured and many feared dead. And in sports, Super Eagles will open camp on November 10 in Rabat, Morocco, ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup playoff clash against Gabon. And that's it on News Express. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms, now showing on your screen, using at Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching.